Welcome back. I'm Guido. I'm the host, Purgatory After Hours. We're here again. It's going to be an actual special one. I know I said that before, but this one's actually special. We got Bryndze in the house. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Lindsay. I work for Guido in Albany at Purgatory Tattoo Co. I do traditional tattoos, glitter, cutesy, cartoons, all that kind of stuff.
My name is Brandon. I used to work for Sean, but for unbiased reasons, I no longer do. Glad to be here. I tattoo cool stuff.
So now back to you two. Lindsay, what do you think got you into wanting to be a tattoo artist?
Um, I not that I didn't, but like I always kind of thought that like an art career wasn't going to be something that was like feasible or realistic. And then, as you know, I was thinking about transferring schools. I was in college, got my degree, and I was thinking about transferring. And I used to get tattooed at your shop, and you said, "Why don't you come try this out? If you don't like it, go back to school." And here I am. So.
What about you, Brandon?
Well, I always said I wanted to be a tattooer when I was, a kid and stuff, and then I always thought that my art skills weren't necessarily up to par until I discovered other forms of tattooing that weren't necessarily realism because, most people just see tattoos as realism. Normal people, a lot of people, And then I met people that didn't draw at all that tattooed, and I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's when I kind of discovered my love for, more traditional work and more black work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's led me here 6-7 years later.
So, funny story. Me and Brandon used to hate each other at one point. And it was actually pretty funny because, like, I used to be that guy that, would be like, oh, you're a scratcher, why are you tattooing in the house? And, it was always backlash. But, I meant it in a good way. And, it was like Brandon had so much potential, but he wasn't doing it the proper way. And I kind of, like, hated that. And it's like, you had way too much potential. And it kind of upset me to watch you just sit in a house, tattoo, not go through proper ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But where we come from, let's be honest, is there any real proper way to do anything?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, when you finally got into the industry, what do you think gave you the drive to want to like grow your career?
I guess I saw everybody around me just starting to, flourish, and at first it was a jealousy thing. I just saw everybody around me doing cool stuff, and I didn't have the ability to do that. I didn't have the ability to, travel around and tattoo. I didn't have any actual like, hopes with it for a little while, and then I don't know, I kind of just went with the flow, and I ended up, working under you, and everything just kind of panned out the way that I wanted it to. And the backlash really is what gave me the most motivation, is people telling me I couldn't do it, people telling me that I couldn't tattoo, that I wouldn't amount to nothing tattooed in the house. So I just kind of went for it, and I ran with it, and I ended up loving it, and now it's my full-time career, and it's all I want to do.
It's funny you say that because that's why I'm where I'm at in my career, because so many people hated me. So many people like turned me down, laughed at me. I was like, fine, I'm gonna take your shit.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and I seen a lot of that in you, like even when we had our back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was like, this kid, and like as much as I kept telling you to just stop tattooing, you just kept doing it, and I'm like, he's not gonna stop. I need to like bring him in.
Right.
And that's kind of why I reached out to you, and I was like, just come to the shop.
Yeah, and that was like a pivotal moment with everything, where I was like, where tattooing wasn't so serious to me at the time. I mean, I was having fun and whatnot, tattooing the homies in the house and doing whatever else. But the fact that somebody piqued their own interest in me, it was like, oh, maybe this could happen for real. Maybe I could make something of this. And I didn't really think much of it at the time. And I figured if you, hit up my phone and asked about it, I was like, all right, well, something's got to be there, so.
It's just that I didn't want to see wasted potential, you know what I mean? And, it's like I said, I seen a lot of me in that, and I knew that nobody gave me a chance. So it's like nobody was giving you a chance.
Right.
Where are you gonna go to the local scratcher shops?
No.
You know what I mean? That had the worst reputations.
No.
And when you work at those kind of shops, like the hood shops and the bad reputation shops that are known for bad stuff, and you start there, you take that reputation with you, and it's hard to come back from that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't want to see that with you.
Especially early in your career, when you finally get your jump. I thankfully got out of that rhythm before I was like super locally-ish known, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before people actually knew my name. I kind of got out of it before it got out of hand where I had a super bad reputation for doing awful tattoos and whatnot. It kind of, in a way, you kind of saved me from that bad reputation that I was going to have within probably the next year or so of me continuing to tattoo and whatnot. So.
Yeah, you did a complete U-turn.
Yeah.
Like, you were going down that route, and then, like, months later, you're like, nope. And you went the opposite way.
Yeah.
And
Love that for you guys. It's like a profound like character arc into like a career, and for me, I'm just like, it was a happy little accident. Like,
well, it's funny because when it was funny, your sister actually got me noticing your stuff, and I love your sister. That's my homie for life right there, and I started paying attention, and I'm like, this girl has the same potential. And I said the same thing. I don't ever take anybody underneath me or try to put my name on somebody unless I see some sort of potential. And, sometimes it might bite me in the butt, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like you don't know until you do it.
right.
And, like, I seen your drawings and your drive, and, you came in, you took the apprenticeship, and you did your apprenticeship exactly right. And when I tell people about, like, your apprenticeship and how it should go, like, you would get bored and tattoo yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never cared, like, if it was going to come out messed up. You're like, well, whatever.
Well,
You know what I mean?
why would you do it to someone else if you wouldn't do it to yourself?
Exactly.
Like,
and,
that's just morals.
we just did a podcast on apprenticeships and tattoo schools, and, I talked about you on there, and, how you had so much drive that you always had the tattoo, whether it was a friend, yourself.
Something. You're there to learn. You're there to, absorb as much as you can. Like, why would you waste a second of it?
Exactly. Like 6 months in, you were pulling clean tattoos, and maybe at that time you didn't think it was clean, but I thought it was fucking clean to me.
I was fortunate to catch on quick, that's for sure. I've seen a lot of people struggle for a lot longer.
I mean, honestly, it's like you always had that potential, and I don't think before you came to apprentice, you probably didn't see like tattooing being a career, and then when you unlocked that,
it was something that, like, in high school and stuff, I'd be like, oh, wow, like, that's so cool. But, like, I just never really thought that was, like, gonna be me.
Yeah.
Like, I just always thought that, like, it was something else. Like, I did really well in school. Like, I went to college and everything, Like, I really thought I was more of an academic person that just happened to be good at art. And then it just became so much more for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Further down the road.
And you know what? It ended up working out because look at you now.
Yeah.
Both of you are killing it right now. And it's I always brag about those that mean the most to me, and you guys definitely blew up. And I think coming up in this industry now is a lot easier than when you guys came. I know it's only been a few years, but I feel like it's easier now compared to most. And it's like you guys had an actual, like, I think I did pretty good at, like, being harsh as a
formal apprenticeship. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I didn't do the hazing stuff. That's weird.
No.
But
nothing too much.
No. And I see, like, on a tattoo shop page they talk about apprentices should be paid. And I'm just like, no, why?
Dude,
I can't get down with it. I can't,
because it's you're giving somebody a career. You're giving somebody that somebody's going to take with them for the rest of their life, and it's like if a year and some change, 2, 3, 4 years even, depending on how long your apprenticeship lasts, if that gives you the rest of your life to feed your family, you should be forever grateful to that person that let you in the door.
Well, and here's my thing too, is that the way you do it isn't necessarily like no pay at all. Like, even like the way that I came up, you get tipped out, and it's based off of what you're doing to help out. It's not like I was there for nothing, That I feel like is crazy. Like, if you just expect somebody to come there and be there 80 hours a week for nothing, like, You know, like that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, and that's where I see the side of it. But like, I don't even know if that exists out there like that, where like they literally get nothing. But like that wasn't my experience. You know, I did have to work through my apprenticeship still at a regular job, but
Even my thing too is like if you're an apprentice and you're even just getting tattooed, like tattoos
yeah,
cost money, and if your mentor's
dude,
tattooing you,
Right.
like count that as a payment.
dude,
Right.
if I had to pay for every tattoo you've given me, oh my god,
Yeah,
I'd
but
still be paying it off.
I laugh at those pages because I sit there and I think about you guys and I think about the crew and everything, and I'm like, we've definitely like come up as far as like everybody's careers and everything, and I'm like, could you imagine if I had to pay you guys hourly?
Yeah, dude.
Dude,
The
like,
tattoo
yeah.
shops would never run.
They would
you know,
never.
It's
It'd
not
be
how it
corporate.
works. Yeah.
It would have to be a
Well,
corporate
and
thing.
people want to complain about how tattooing's gate kept now. That would only make it worse because nobody would want to pay to teach somebody their trade just so that they could end up taking that
Oh,
their
100%.
clients and stuff away from them in the future. That doesn't make sense.
It'd be a private studio situation where everybody
Right.
owned their own private studio.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's
would
got
want
to be worth
employees.
it to your mentor. Otherwise, like it's a total loss for your mentor. You know,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
It's a waste of time and effort from, a mentor to put all that work into you, because it's not even like you're not just working for your mentor. Your mentor's working for you.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
Correct.
mean? Like
One hand
between,
washes the other.
like it's not just giving homework assignments and bitching about trash and this and that. You know what I mean? It's not you're giving knowledge constantly every single day. You sit there and you watch them tattoo. You borrow their techniques. You make them your own. So it's like you have more to be. You've given more to that artist than that artist could probably ever repay you in a dollar amount.
Yeah.
So it's like some people just gotta kind of be humble, and I know this whole new day and age stuff is nuts, dude. But
Yeah.
like I even like you said, 4 or 5, probably close to 6 years ago when I started tattooing, it was still a completely different world than what it is now. Like now, within these past, I want to say 2 to 3 years, it's just gotten everybody's entitled to something, and they shouldn't be. And it's I don't care if you're scrubbing toilets.
Yeah.
We did it. We all did it. We all
a rite
had
of
to
passage.
do it. It's like random
Yeah.
things like that. I didn't scrub too many toilets of my own, but
Do you guys want to know why I do that stuff, like the whole cleaning the shop thing? So it comes back to like, if you can maintain a clean, sterile environment for my clients, how are you gonna do coming up as an artist doing it for yourselves?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I don't expect everybody to work for me forever. You know what I mean? I mean, you see that. You're still my little brother. You don't work for me.
Yeah, that don't
But
change.
it's at the same time, it's like you guys might open up your own shop, and if you don't become accustomed to keeping a clean, sterile environment, how are you gonna do that on your own?
Right.
You're
Yeah.
gonna fall lazy, and
Like,
you're just gonna say, "I
you
opened
don't
a shop."
deserve to tattoo
Yeah.
people if you think it's okay to tattoo people in filth. Like
I've always
that's
said-
not okay.
I've always said, and it's like, I don't care what anybody says. It's just simple facts. I don't care how good of a tattooer you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how clean your tattoos look. If they're dirty, they're bad.
Yeah.
If
No.
they, and it's like you're touching this, touching that, and contaminating this, contaminating that. That
Yep.
tattoo is not a good tattoo. For one, it's probably not going to heal well.
Yep.
It might get infected. Things like that. So if you can't keep a sterile work environment, then your tattoo is not going to be clean, no matter how clean it looks.
I have clients from other states that always hit me up, and they'll send me like people's profiles, and they'll be like, "Hey, I want to get tattooed, but I trust your opinion. What do you think about this person?" And I'm like, "Clean work, but why don't you set up a consultation? Go meet that artist, make sure you vibe with that artist, and check the shop out. To make
Use
sure
their bathroom while you're there.
Yeah, make sure because when you're getting tattooed, it's an emotional attachment. It's a relationship.
Absolutely.
So if you're not going and meeting your artist and you just book online and you didn't meet your artist, if you have a bad experience, I feel like I'm not gonna throw blame, but you didn't play your cards right and you didn't learn.
Right.
You know what? That's actually a great segue into from cleaning to experience. I've been talking about this a lot lately because I just redid my room at Purgatory up in Albany, and half of it's the tattoo, half of it's getting the client there, giving them a tattoo that they love, doing a good job. The other half of it is the experience they have when they're in your shop. So it's like if they come in and the vibe's bad or it looks dirty or X, Y, and Z, like they're gonna leave there and be like, "Wow, well, I love the tattoo, but I'm not going there again." Or your artist is, a jerk, yeah, her work's great, but, you know, she's kind of rude. You're never coming back.
You want
You know,
to
it's huge.
you want to know what made me realize that part of the industry, and it was when I worked for um I'm not gonna say the name of the shop, but I worked for a shop and it was ran by bikers, and Brandon was there, and
I got my first tattoo there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was, the environment was just toxic.
Mhm.
Like
Bad vibes.
the things
Clients
that
don't want
came
to be
in
there.
and out, the conversations that came in and out. I had a lot of clients that didn't even want to go there because of that environment.
Right.
You know, you're sitting down tattooing and you got 20 bikers rolling up and they're all hanging out outside. You got little college
you're
girls that
intimidated.
don't want to go in.
Yeah, that 18-year-old girl getting her first tattoo doesn't want to go
Yeah.
there.
So,
Absolutely not.
And then the shop, inside the shop, it was a clean shop. It was just
The
it
vibes
was,
were
it was a
off.
beautiful looking shop.
the
you know?
vibes just killed the mood.
Mhm.
And to
It's that
me,
easy.
that's why I run my shops the way I do now, because it's more or less about the aura, the
Yeah.
vibe. Like if everybody's humble,
Mhm.
you walk in, place is beautiful, everybody's smiling, you're greeted as soon as you
Right.
walk in the door,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like that starts it off
Mhm.
perfect right there. You walk in
Yeah.
that door and it's like sunshine. Cool. You know what I mean? Now your client's happy and
Yeah.
comfortable. So that's kind of why like I have apprentices clean. And it's not less to be my shop bitch. You know what I mean? It's because if you can't maintain my shop, how are you going to maintain your own?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're maintaining a routine in which you should do on a daily basis in order
Exactly.
for everything to run correctly, cleanly, safely.
Safely.
It needs to be safe.
Safe is
First and foremost.
Safe is priority.
Yeah.
It can get scary sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know, Lindsay. So like, from your memories of like your apprenticeship and stuff, what do you think like your best to your worst?
Moments of my apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Kind of on the spot. Best part, winning a first place trophy and being told I couldn't be an apprentice anymore. That was great. That was a high moment. Worse? I might have to think about it.
We'll come back to it. You think?
Yeah,
about it. Brandon,
let me think about
Brandon,
that
what about
one.
you?
Oh, in reality, I don't think that my worst experience as an apprentice has anything to do with tattooing.
Yeah.
In general, my transition from working whatever street shop
Mhm.
and house that I worked in at the time and whatnot, and to working there is, when I was in that environment, like you said, you got a bunch of knuckleheads around you. I got into some bad stuff. So trying to make that transition and try to break those bad habits of my past was probably the hardest thing that I had to overcome. I don't think it had anything to do with tattooing, you know what I mean? But if I had to, pinpoint something from my apprenticeship, the hardest part would have had to been the discipline of getting into that routine and that structure, that function of running a shop every day, you know what I mean? Because we didn't just have the responsibility of, learn how to draw this or draw that and learn how to tattoo. It was learn how to work a front desk, learn how to run numbers, learn how to keep books. You know what I mean? You had to learn all these things in, a good cycle. You know what I mean? You had to get it down pat. And I was never a routine person. I did whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, to whoever I wanted. I didn't care.
Yeah. And
when I got put into that environment where there was so much structure and so much routine that had to be done, that's what threw me for a loop. I didn't want to do it. I knew I had to, but it took me a long time to actually, come break the habit of just not being able to do so.
Yeah.
You know what? I got my hardest part. I think for me it was like humbling myself because I was always so used to being great at everything I did. Like if I was going to do something, I was going to do a great job and it was going to come easy to me. I was always great at school, that kind of stuff. I never had issues, and like having to humble myself. The specific moment that I'm thinking about is when I did that lion tattoo, and you were like, Lindsay, that was bad. And I'm like, what do you mean it was bad? I was so proud of myself, because up until then, I was doing so good, for being so fresh. And
if you're watching, sorry.
And it's all good. And you sat me down with Sarah and Brandon and made Sarah and Brandon tell me why it was awful. And that was a moment where I was like, I need to humble myself, like for real. Like that was a wake up call for me. That was like, I need to slow down and like stop trying to be too ambitious. I was definitely really excited at that point. Like I was chugging ahead, I just wanted a tattoo. I was overly excited, and I needed to like bring it back, reel it in.
Do you think that was your like wake up call from being a rock star?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that shut me down pretty bad. Yeah.
See, with me,
that was a rough day.
That went in waves with me. I was always cocky back then.
Yeah.
I was the worst.
I know.
I was the worst. Dude, clients hated me sometimes, because I seemed like I was so full of myself, when in reality I really hated myself, but I couldn't let the world know that.
Yeah.
But just trying to like navigate around that was like the worst, because I'd constantly get humbled. Then the next day I'm like cocky again, and I'm like, I kept going back and forth, and eventually I was just like, I suck.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually started to progress.
You gotta lean into it.
When I actually told myself, yo, listen, you're pretty. It's great. That's fine. You're a handsome man.
Yeah.
You're a handsome young man. I'm fat now. But back then, I was a handsome young man, so I thought I had the world by the balls.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a reality check when I had this person or that person come back and complain, and you would fix my work in secret for me, and you would wait till my days off were there, and you would fix a tattoo for me and not tell me, which was probably more of a hurt than it was a help. Yeah. But it kept the client satisfied. And every once in a while, if the tattoo was way too bad, you would just be like, yo, dude.
Well, and you know what
needs to happen.
This is all bringing me back to this one thing that Guido always says that I think about a lot is, an artist that thinks he knows it all doesn't know it all. Yeah. As soon as you think you know everything and you're not going to learn anything else, that's your downfall.
I know
right
artists,
there.
Bam. I know artists that are 25 years in the game and they think they know it all. Mm-hmm. Then you look at their tattoos and it's like, I'm not the best tattoo artist in the world, but I will tell you, like, my flaws in my tattoos. These artists will tell you there's no flaws in their tattoos.
Right.
And we are not machines. Every tattoo has a flaw.
Yep. And there's always something more to learn, especially these days, like the advancements in this industry and technology, like machines, needles, all this stuff. Like, there's always going to be more to learn, and you got to be open to that. Yeah, no. And there's always going to be someone that's better.
And that's why the industry is so oversaturated now. Because even when I started tattooing, I ran coils. Yeah. When I first started tattooing, and that was only 6 or so years ago. Mm-hmm. And now tattoo equipment it's just so accessible. I can go online and order a machine for $40. Yeah. And jack up all my friends. You know what I mean? Like, so tattooing is just so much more accessible. A while back, like, you didn't have all the pens and all these Chinese companies making all these machines and whatnot. You had to go to a place like Tom Spalding's. And you had to go buy some pre-made machine or something like that, and it's like, now it's just so accessible to everybody, and the technology with the whole Procreate and all this stuff, it enhances the easeability to tattoo, so.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that, like, you don't have to be 18 to buy tattoo equipment?
Right, yeah.
Like, you got to be 21 now in New York to buy cigarettes.
That.
You got to be 21 in New York to buy cigarettes. You got to be 21 to buy alcohol. Right?
You just gotta have an Amazon account.
Get tattooed.
You gotta be 18 to get tattooed, but you could be 12 years old to buy a tattoo machine on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, even the bigger companies now, they don't care anymore.
No, a lot of
them, they want the profit. Mm-hmm. Back then, even like 3-4 years ago, before the big explosion or whatever you want to call it happened in the industry. Yeah. Yep. Even before then, it was
eBay.
Yeah, dude. Like,
everybody was on eBay.
Yeah.
Well, right. I remember when I got my first machine, I needed your login because I had to prove that I worked at a tattoo shop.
Right.
Yeah. You don't need to do that anymore.
No.
Yeah, all the big companies
and that was 4 years ago,
but those companies that do that still, I only order through them now when I order because I respect those companies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like Kingpin and
FK
stuff like that.
Irons for life.
And, Bishop's the same way. So it's like, I really appreciate those companies that take that extra step so scratchers can't easily buy their stuff.
Right.
You have to go through loops. Like, you can't order a Bishop and not have a tattoo license.
Right.
You can't order FK Irons without having a tattoo license. Yep. At least I don't think you can.
They used to, but I don't think so anymore. I think you can just send it now.
It's just sad.
Well, you can buy FK Irons on Amazon
make you verify.
Yeah.
I can go buy Zion or Flux right on Amazon now.
Painful Pleasure sells on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that makes sense.
But it's sad. I wish they would regulate that much in our industry. At least if they're not going to regulate
Yeah.
anything else, they should regulate age.
It's not really
No.
safe for the public hands in that way anyway.
If an 8-year-old wants a machine, all he's got to do is get mommy's card and buy it.
Right.
Then
Right.
he's tattooing all the homies at the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
Stick and pokes were bad enough in high school.
So where do you guys see your guys in like 5 years? What's your career?
Probably
I-
tattooing in your shop still.
Yeah, I mean,
Traveling,
I'm definitely gonna be
conventions.
tattooing. I want to travel more.
Yeah.
Traveling is definitely on my bucket list because you know I have this really bad habit of I don't want to say I get bored at home, but I lose slight motivation at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like I don't care what anybody says. If you're out of money, you're hustling like you've never hustled before. You know what I mean? And when you got a good chunk of money, a lot of the time, and I'm not gonna say it's all artists because it's not. You know, but a lot of artists start to take it easy when they got enough money to cushion themselves for a little while, you know, and I fall into that laziness here and there, you know, and I find that I only am motivated, not only motivated, but I'm mainly motivated when I'm running a little bit low on money, but that's when I put out my best work.
Yeah.
So I have to find that happy medium of wanting to put out my best work.
Do you think that's the old you coming back? Like,
I think it's the old me peeking through that just hasn't quite gone away yet.
Yeah.
I since moving shops, you know, I don't have as much structure as I once did, and maybe I wasn't ready to lose all the structure because I do whatever I want now, which is great. You know, don't get me wrong. But the expectations are slightly lower. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Traveling keeps it spicy.
Yeah, traveling and stuff like that. It keeps me going. It keeps me motivated. I see
love
all these
traveling.
tattooers all around me and stuff like that.
There's nothing better than to be motivated by other peers in the industry that are like kicking ass, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's awesome, dude. It's awesome. Just the environment feels
it is
great.
the best feeling when you don't see somebody for like months, and like maybe a year you might not see that artist, and then they run up to you and they want to high five you and say, "Yo, what up, bro? How you been?" You know what I mean?
What have you been doing? What have you
And
been
the best
doing?
feeling
You
too,
know, it's
like
great.
you see the homies every month that you're traveling, or you know what I mean. And that's why I like the Villain Art shows, because it's such a unit and all the artists know each other. You know what I mean? And
it's solid team
such
usually.
a solid team. Yeah. So it's it's very comforting. Then you meet new people, like as far as clients.
Yeah, fresh clients, great.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Man.
It's the best feeling.
I got some of the best convention stories.
Yeah.
Fun.
I mean, I just feel like a lot of the time, I feel stagnant at home. It's like
I get there.
I
Too.
just sometimes I do the bare minimum, and then sometimes I'll come in and I'll try to kill it, but
Yeah.
it's just
Well, and that was my problem. That's why I don't like to stay home very much. Like
Right.
I go to New York and I don't even want to be there half the time.
right.
And I come here, I love it here. This is my peace down here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like at the same time, it's like I'm not as motivated until I get on the road. Like
Right.
when I hit a convention circuit, I'm like,
Yep.
okay, boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're there for the business,
Yeah.
When
it's a different feeling.
When I went to my first convention is when I really opened up in tattooing. When I really
You won a
started
trophy.
when I really started to
Yeah.
push myself more. As soon as I saw people around me getting trophies and this and that,
Mhm.
and it's like I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I just started to push myself from there, and then I got my first trophy, and I was like, oh, that's the best feeling ever. And then I got my second trophy, and I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily care too much about trophies. I just like the competition of it.
I mean, it
It's
feels
like-
good. It feels good.
Yeah,
You got
right.
acknowledged.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I actually I remember when you got your first trophy, we were all packed up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was
We were
like,
outside.
On
Yeah,
our
We
way
were on the
out.
curb waiting for the car to come
Yeah.
around, and I just got the phone call, and I was like, okay. I was like, I gotta go. I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I won. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like super calm seeming about it, but like I was,
I was shocked.
I just played it off.
I'm like, we
you
got
know?
the whole car packed up and everything, and we were
Right,
ready,
we were
ready
out
to
of
get
there,
in
man.
on the
Yeah.
highway and head home.
I just assumed, it's like it's like you said, it's like that doubt that you have,
Mm-hmm.
It creeps
you got that doubt in yourself, and I just was like, I'm not gonna win anyway. I'm
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah, but like, how do you think like winning that trophy affected your work for the next month? Do you think it gave you drive?
Oh yeah. It gave me drive for longer than a month.
Yeah.
Way longer than a month. Yeah, I want to say it was a good 6 months until I had some personal things happen and whatnot.
Yeah, obviously.
Is what it is. I'm not gonna say that didn't affect my work because I put out slightly less than par tattoos at the time. But it is what it is, and yeah, that trophy really just kind of set it off. That's when I really decided that like I'm in this now. Like this is what I do. And this is what I'm gonna continue to do because I don't know nothing else, and I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to go work at Walmart. I don't want to work some dumb trade job even. It's like
I don't think I'd last.
Right, I don't. This is the last industry, or I really don't even like to call it an industry. It just makes it sound real rigid, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of free. It's like we're the last pirates. Like that's you don't have anything else like this besides nail salons and stuff like that. But even then, it's still way different, and they're regulated differently, and they're run differently, and this is the last thing. That's the last industry that's like you do whatever you want.
That's what makes me more scared. So like it's the last industry for them to tap into and take over, and like the more it becomes more popular, and if it's not gate kept, I feel like it's just gonna get to the point where the government's gonna tap in. We're gonna get regulated by them. We're going to get regulated by everybody and their mom, and it's all going to become corporate.
Yep.
Well, here's my take on this, because I've been thinking about this a lot. If we were to get regulated, it would probably be structured more like hair salons.
Yeah.
They run very similar to how a tattoo shop would. And there's actually a lot of states, I can't reference it right now because I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's a couple states that are deregulating hair. Cosmetology, which I kind of think is crazy because they're dealing with chemicals and stuff. It's just as serious as us. Like they got barbicide and everything else too. But that's actually being deregulated in some places. So, whether or not we're shifting towards regulation or staying where we're at, I'm not too sure. But I guess that's something that we just wait around and wait for it to happen, right?
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Yeah,
Lindsay, what was your first trophy?
In Raleigh, it was on Yana. It was the mushroom girl with the glitter.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a moment. I was actually on my way to do my next tattoo because I was pretty busy, and I went to grab a stencil, and then I just happened to walk by, and Cass, a good friend of ours, she was like, "It's you won," and I was like, "What?"
What was going through your head?
I thought she was joking, I was like, no, because I was right there and I didn't hear it. But no, it was real life, and it was pretty awesome. I remember being in shock because it was first place too, and it was my first trophy, and I was just completely shocked. If anything, I thought maybe I'll place third place if I'm lucky, but it was quite the moment.
I have yet to get a first place for anything.
Me neither.
I've gotten second.
I got third. 2 of them.
No, I've just got 2 thirds, dude. I don't know.
Like I'm saying, Brandon's head was actually my first trophy.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that was like something we were like, well, we'll never win, but let's fucking do that.
No, that's
it'd be a portrait. Remember that guy was super. That guy was super mad.
He pointed at Brandon's head. He's like, "That one."
Yeah, because this guy took 8 hours to do this portrait that was, decent size, and you banged out this tattoo in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah,
you never
all
know.
Chance. It's all chance,
That's
and
it all depends on the judges up there, what their perspective is on the category. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I've put my whole heart into some tattoos and got nothing, and then been like, guess I'll enter it for shits and giggles, and then bam, there you go, first place.
They see the same shit all the time, and if you're gonna enter for a trophy, why are you gonna do a portrait? They see portraits.
Yeah, do something different.
It's an impressive level of technical ability.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show that much creativity.
Creativity is
or artistry.
Every trophy I've ever won has been last minute. I mean, you guys seen it.
Yeah.
Like I would throw that shit together in like 20 minutes.
That was mine too.
And it would take me an hour and a half to tattoo it, and boom.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I was entering tattoos that I didn't have business.
Out of all the tattoos you did on me and entered, the only one that we won a trophy on is one that you didn't really think about that much.
Yeah. And
the rest of them were so planned, done at home, the whole thing.
Which one was it again?
The corn tattoo.
The corn tattoo, yes. The one that got you in trouble with your pops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pops.
Sorry, Dad, I love you. He's over it. It's
Yeah,
okay.
he's fine. He's
That-
doing good.
Yeah.
That whole corn thing was
You didn't like
that
the
was a
corn
crazy
tattoo?
That was a
time.
weird
Dude,
time.
I
huh?
love that
Yeah,
tattoo. That's one of my favorite tattoos, man.
Oh my god,
It's just funny.
that was dope.
It's
though.
like one of my favorite things to show my clients. They're like, "What's your weirdest tattoo?" I'm like, "I got a corn cob."
I got a corn cob.
What do you think your best convention experience is?
Oh man, love Cleveland every time.
Cleveland. Is a
Every
good
time
show.
Cleveland does it for me for sure. But Raleigh, that was a crazy show because of the AC was broken, it flooded, like everything went wrong at that show. But it was my first trophy. It was
And we kept tattooing.
family experience. Yeah, we
Yeah.
tattooed.
We
through
tattooed
it,
in the
man.
puddle. We didn't.
My loyal, dedicated.
One of your
client.
best clients
Yep.
brought us a bunch of fans. She's a real one. Thanks, Jen. Yeah.
What about you, Brandon? What would yours be?
That's a really hard question, especially on the spot. I could say the cliche and say it was the first time I won a trophy, but like it wasn't. Like
What show was that? Was that
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville?
Was
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
It was
Baltimore. Yes.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Jacksonville was my other trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what I won that for.
The
But yeah,
fish.
when it comes, oh yeah, it was the fish. Yeah,
Yeah.
the fish. Every time I've entered a tattoo, I've always just thrown it in there as like a whatever.
Mhm.
Like,
Might as
I mean,
well.
not every time, but every time I've put my heart and soul into a tattoo, I've lost. So I've just been throwing, tattoos at, competitions and just hoping something sticks. And I don't really care if it sticks or not.
That's
If
how
it
you
does, awesome. But
If you care too much, you're already out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
my favorite part of conventions in general is just the people. Meeting
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah.
Most people, you go to a tattoo convention and normal, civilians that aren't tattooers, they kind of walk around and they look a little timid and whatnot, and it's like
Yeah.
we don't care. Like we're the cool. Like we might look a little funky, and we might look a little scary to some people or whatever, but
We're the most
we're
accepting
the most
people you'll ever meet.
But whether it be it doesn't matter. You hang out with the Mexicans, the white boys. Everybody's there and everybody's having the best time.
Yeah.
Everybody's just all around like, yo, how'd you do today? What'd you do today? Oh, you got a trophy. That's sick. It's just the environment being there. I mean, obviously you have the artists, the stuck-up artists. There's a couple of famous
The
people.
Tratty Daddies.
Yeah, the Tratty Daddies.
Nah, yeah.
You got those couple of famous people that are there that think their shit don't stink, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to feel however they want to feel, but
Yeah.
overall, it's just the vibe. When you go to a show, it's just exciting. You got this.
You know what threw me off? So like we do a lot of different shows, and the most like the least interaction we've ever gotten at a show was San Diego. Like,
Bizarre.
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
so weird. So like Cleveland, everybody talks to us in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, so
You know what I mean?
friendly, so
Clients
nice.
come in, everybody wants to shake hands,
Yeah.
take our business cards. Baltimore, same way. Jacksonville,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tampa was amazing. Like every show I've done, the only time I've ever never had client interaction
Yeah.
was San Diego.
San Diego was bizarre because people would come up to the booth and they'd be looking at your work for a while, and hey, how are you? If you have any questions, let me know. They'll look at you like a deer in the headlights and just run away.
So weird.
It's like if you talk to them, they wouldn't book with you. But if you didn't say anything at all, they'd message you on Instagram and then you'd tattoo them. It was bizarre. It's
And
like people
it's-
didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, it's crazy
was
because
weird.
California tattooers are some of the coolest people that
Oh,
I've
they're awesome.
ever
Yeah.
met in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like they are the most down to earth and humble people that I've ever met. And then you get these people that just come to these shows and they're nothing like that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
We
So
I think we forget that we're from New York and we're loud and we're very,
Yeah.
we're
Outspoken.
very out there, and I feel like sometimes that's not the vibe for certain groups of
Yeah.
people, like we forget that. Like every time we travel, people tell us like, oh, you guys are so loud, why are you yelling, like stuff like that. And that's just us, that's just New York.
Well, let's see how Houston deals with us.
I'm excited for Texas. I think we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Texas.
Yeah.
I've never been
I got
to
some
Texas in my
family
life.
down there.
I
so
got a
I'm
homie out in
excited.
Texas, and he tattoos, and he says Texas is booming right now with the tattoos. So,
Texas is booming for everything.
so
Yeah,
we'll see
I
how
like the
those-
idea
They just
of
got
Texas,
snow,
so-
so I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, they got snow. So, but
Snow
then again,
one day,
Florida got
110,
snow too.
you know.
So, but
Yeah.
so we'll get to some final questions. Like, say what would your like top five? No, let's say top three artists that inspired you.
You're gonna give me shit for this.
Go for it.
Oh
If you say
God,
Kat Von D, you're fired.
No,
You're
absolutely
fired.
not. Absolutely not. We love sis, but no. Not in terms of any type of artistry. For me, you know, you're gonna give me crap for this, but definitely like when I first started my apprenticeship, I remember like day one, you were like, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to do glitter." Immediately, I was like, "I really want to do glitter." You know, like I was really into Amanda Graves stuff. I still think she's a great artist. Given there's so many people out there that do glitter now that, you know, even different types of glitter, like Amanda Graves does that, like, you know, micro stuff, and like that's awesome, but there's so many other types of glitter and a lot of artists that do it really good. But that was always like a big deal for me. But I'd have to think about like other influences, because I feel like my other artists that influenced me a lot are like people from my real life, my mentors, you know, people that I've met that inspired me, and not necessarily, you know, like these figures that are big people like that, you know?
Yeah. What about you, Brandon?
You know, it's really hard to, because there's so many different types of tattooers, but I can't directly say that they inspire. Like when I was younger, I watched, you know, Miami Ink and all that, and directly art wise, you know, I was watching, you know, like Mega Massacre and all these people tattooing, you know, and then you got the Godfathers of tattooing, you know, you got the Freddie Negrettis and all these California artists, and I don't even tattoo in that style, but they just, the way that their story comes up, and I've watched a few documentaries and whatnot, especially on Freddie Negretti. I watched a lot of documentaries because you introduced me, and we met him, and
Listen,
and that was a couple years into my, you know, story. And
I love that guy.
Yeah.
His work is my number one, and I've been watching his work before all the big industry, you know, he started blowing up, and like I was always drawn into that Chicano style stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not my style.
Right.
Which is weird
Yeah.
because everybody that I've looked up to in the industry, I don't do their style. Bob
Yeah.
Terrell, another one, amazing black and gray
What's
artist.
that one dude's name? Joe Capobianco. Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, he's
Love him.
awesome, dude. He's dope.
But you know, even Tony Trevorrow, I used to study his stuff, but he's a new school artist, and I used to look up to all these guys, and I don't tattoo anything like
yeah,
them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because I watched, you know, I watched a lot of these people, and I watched, you know, documentaries, and I've tried to, you know, watch videos of them tattooing and whatnot, and you know, a lot of my inspiration from a young age, when I was running around telling everybody that I was going to be a tattooer, it just came from TV.
Yeah.
You know, like, and regardless if it's, you know, drama, whatever, you know, these people are still real tattooers, you know, and I don't see them as such an influence these days, but
yeah,
they're tattooers, and that's what led me to where I am. So if I didn't give some kind of credit where credit was due, you know, I'd feel like I was doing myself and whoever a disservice. There's somebody else that I can't think of his name. I don't know why, but he's a traditional tattooer, and he just did the most crisp, bold, traditional line work that I ever seen in my life. I'm trying to think of his name.
For me, Mike Chambers. Fire.
It wasn't Mike Chambers. Mike Chambers
fire.
is a
He
monster.
was definitely a big inspiration to me
He's
too.
a
That was a
monster.
big name.
He's
too.
the original Tratty Daddy.
Yeah. I really mess with his stuff. I mess with his story. He's definitely up there for me.
If you ever notice, like, these artists that come up that we named, like, they all have a story, and like their lives are just so unique, and like, you know, to see where they are now, and now they're considered legends in the industry.
Right.
It's like, what's it going to be in 20 years? Who's going to be your next legend?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because the pool is so much larger.
Yeah.
You know,
like you really got to be impressive. Like, I've seen some incredible artists that are 3 years in the game, and I'm like, bro, like, you're doing crazy work at 3 years.
But it's like, who do you consider a legend? You know what I mean? Because regardless of how good your work is, your attitude is everything. You know,
what you bring.
You meet the most humblest tattooers that are phenomenal. You could be the worst tattooer in the room, but as long as you know, strive to be better and do better, they respect you. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like they'll help you and guide you to that direction. You know what I mean? Like it's like every apprentice ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's the humble tattooers that really, you know, do it for me, because I can't stand. I don't care how good of a tattooer you are, if you can't put yourself into somebody else's shoes where you once were. You know,
Yeah.
it's.
You know what I hope for that doesn't go is like I hope the tattoo industry doesn't turn into the Jake Pauls. Where negativity brings in fans.
Right, that's the
so tattoo artists start acting ignorant to get that attention. Because I do see that a lot. I do see like tattoo artists where they're really good tattoo artists, but then they're arrogant, cocky. They're picking arguments, picking fights, but for some reason people are feeding into
media, yeah, like it's toxic, especially, you know, with like all the TikTok stuff going on. You got, you know, TikTok tattooers beefing with each other. Like, it's just crazy, dude.
Yeah, the only people we should be beefing with is Ariel De Jesus. But anyway.
Yo, facts.
But anyway.
Someone take that lady's blindfold away from her.
We're gonna wrap this up. Lindsay, if anybody could reach you, how are they gonna be able to reach you?
On Instagram, Tatties by Noodles. That's another good story too. I'll let it go for another day.
I gave it a nickname, guys. Brandon, what about you? He changed this, so who knows?
Yeah, my Instagram is _ tattoos by Brandon. You can find me on Facebook, Brandon Kramer. You can email me, tattoos by Brandon at iCloud. It don't matter. I got everything you need. Whatever you want to do.
Well, guys, thank you for checking in on us. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and tell your mama I miss her.
Peace.
Peace.